Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. The next morning, Liam couldn't shake the feeling of what had happened. He had thought about it all night, replaying the events of the previous evening in his mind. There was something about Emma, something genuine and real, that had affected him more than he cared to admit. As a man who had spent years building his empire, focusing only on business and success, he wasn't used to feeling this way. But there it was, a strange mix of regret and curiosity tugging at his chest. Why did he care so much? Why couldn't he stop thinking about her? He sat at his desk in his penthouse, staring out the window at the skyline of New York City, but his thoughts kept drifting back to her. Emma had left in a hurry, embarrassed and flustered, but Liam couldn't help but wonder if he could see her again. He didn't know why he felt so drawn to her. Maybe it was the way she spoke so honestly, or the way she didn't try to impress him. She was unlike anyone he had met before. The thought of not seeing her again bothered him more than it should have. Emma, on the other hand, was trying to put the awkward evening behind her. She had never been good at handling embarrassing situations, and this one had been no exception. After rushing out of the restaurant, she had gone home, feeling like an idiot. The whole night felt like a bad dream. She hadn't even realized she was sitting at the wrong table until it was too late. Her face turned red just thinking about it. And yet, despite the awkwardness, there was something about Liam that had stayed with her. His warmth, his sincerity, it was all so different from what she was used to. And now she couldn't stop wondering who he really was. Was he really just Kevin? Or was there more to him than that? The next day, she received a message that would change everything. It was from a number she didn't recognize, but the message itself stopped her in her tracks. Hi Emma, this is Liam Parker. We met yesterday at the restaurant. I would love to see you again, if you're interested. Her heart skipped a beat. Liam Parker? The name sounded vaguely familiar. She quickly typed out a response, hesitant at first, unsure of how to react. Hi Liam. I'm surprised to hear from you. I didn't expect to hear from you at all. She hit send before she could second-guess herself. Within moments, Liam replied, I understand if you're not interested, but I couldn't stop thinking about how genuine you were. I would like to get to know you better. Would you meet me for coffee sometime? Emma stared at the message for a long moment. This was insane. She barely knew this man, and yet, the idea of meeting him again seemed like the perfect chance to redeem the mess she'd made the night before. Maybe it was just coffee, but it felt like so much more. She quickly typed back, okay, coffee sounds nice. When Liam quickly suggested a small cafe downtown, and they agreed on a time. As the day wore on, Emma found herself both excited and nervous. She couldn't explain it, but there was something about him that made her want to know more. Maybe it was because she had never met anyone like him before, someone who seemed so mysterious, yet so kind. Or maybe it was because, in a world where everyone had an agenda, he felt different. She didn't know what it was, but she was about to find out. That afternoon, Liam arrived at the cafe a little early, his mind racing with anticipation. He wasn't sure what he was expecting, but he knew he wanted to see her again. As the minutes ticked by, he wondered if she would show up. Maybe she thought he was just another rich guy with nothing better to do than chase after some waitress. But something told him Emma wasn't like that. She wasn't interested in his money. She didn't even know who he really was. And that intrigued him more than anything. When Emma walked into the cafe, looking just as nervous as he felt, Liam stood up and smiled. Hi, Emma, he said, his voice warm. I'm glad you came. Of course, she said, her cheeks slightly flushed. I thought I'd at least give you a chance to make up for last night. She sat down across from him, still unsure of where this would lead. They started talking, and it was easy. The awkwardness from the previous evening melted away. Emma shared more about her life, about the struggles she faced trying to make a living while pursuing her dreams. She told him about her passion for art and her goal of one day opening a studio of her own. Liam listened intently, genuinely interested in what she had to say. He wasn't just listening to her words. He was listening to her. And for the first time in a long time, he felt like he was connecting with someone on a deeper level. After an hour of conversation, Emma was surprised at how comfortable she felt with Liam. She hadn't expected to open up to him so easily, but there was something about him that made her want to. She glanced up at him and asked, "So what about you? What's your story?" Liam hesitated for a moment, but then smiled. "I guess my story is still being written," he said, his eyes meeting hers. "But right now, I'm just trying to figure out what's real." It was a simple answer, but there was a sincerity to it that made Emma's heart flutter. Maybe, just maybe, there was more to Liam Parker than the man he had let the world see. And as they continued talking, Emma couldn't help but feel like they were beginning to write a new story together. The conversation shifted as the afternoon sun began to set, and the two of them slowly finished their coffee. As they stood up to leave, Emma found herself hoping that this wouldn't be the last time they met. And maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something more than either of them expected. It had been a few days since their coffee date, but Emma couldn't stop thinking about Liam. Every time she remembered their conversation, she smiled to herself. It was strange how easy it was to talk to him, how natural it felt to be around him. He hadn't seemed like the typical wealthy businessman. Instead, he had listened to her, asked questions about her life, and actually seemed interested in who she was. She hadn't expected to feel such a connection with someone like him. But now, she couldn't help but wonder if there was more to Liam Parker than he had let on. Meanwhile, Liam found himself thinking about Emma just as often. He couldn't get her out of his head. After years of working in the cutthroat world of tech, where everything was calculated and impersonal, Emma had been a breath of fresh air. She was real. She didn't care about his wealth or status. She had a warmth about her, a genuineness that Liam hadn't realized he was missing. And as much as he tried to focus on his work, his mind kept drifting back to her. The more he thought about it, the more he realized he wanted to see her again. But this time, he didn't want to just sit at a cafe. He wanted to show her who he really was, what he had been hiding for so long. After some consideration, Liam decided to invite Emma to an event he was hosting. It was a charity gala for his company, one of those high-profile, invitation-only events where the rich and famous gathered to donate money and network. Normally, he would have invited someone from his circle, someone who knew the rules, who understood how these things worked. But for some reason, Liam felt like this was the perfect chance to invite Emma. He wanted to see if she would still look at him the same way, even after she knew who he really was. He texted her that afternoon, keeping his message casual. "Hey Emma, I'm hosting a charity event this weekend. It's a little fancy, but I'd love for you to come as my guest. Let me know what you think." When Emma received the message, her heart skipped a beat. A charity event? Fancy. She wasn't exactly accustomed to that kind of world. She wasn't sure what to expect. But a part of her felt excited, and another part of her was nervous. This was the world that Liam came from, the world of wealth, power, and influence. She wasn't sure she belonged there, but the invitation felt like an opportunity she couldn't pass up. She replied with a simple, "I'd love to. Thank you for the invite." But deep down, she couldn't help but wonder what Liam was really like in that setting. Would he still be the same person? Would he still be interested in her when he saw her in a crowd of high society people? The night of the gala arrived, and Emma found herself standing in front of her mirror, unsure of what to wear. She had tried on several outfits, but nothing seemed to feel right. She didn't want to appear out of place, but she also didn't want to try too hard. Finally, she settled on a simple black dress she had bought for a wedding last year, pairing it with a pair of shoes she hoped didn't look too worn. She couldn't help but feel like an imposter, as if she didn't belong at a fancy gala with the city's elite. But she pushed those thoughts aside and took a deep breath before heading out the door. When Emma arrived at the venue, she felt a wave of anxiety wash over her. The grand ballroom was filled with people in designer clothes, the soft hum of conversation blending with the clinking of champagne glasses. She quickly spotted Liam across the room, dressed in a sleek black suit, looking every bit the part of a billionaire CEO. He was surrounded by people, all laughing and chatting, but when his eyes landed on her, he smiled and walked over. "You made it," Liam said, his voice warm. He looked her up and down, taking in the way the black dress hugged her figure. He didn't say it out loud, but he was impressed. Emma looked stunning. Not that he had doubted she would, but there was something about her that made her stand out even more in this world of polished perfection. I almost didn't, Emma admitted with a nervous laugh, glancing around at the crowd. This place, it's a little overwhelming. Liam chuckled softly. I get that, but I'm glad you're here. He offered her his arm. Come on, let me introduce you to some people. As they moved through the room, Liam introduced Emma to several people. They were all polite, but Emma could sense the subtle judgment in their eyes. She was just a waitress, an outsider to their world. But as the night went on, she found herself feeling more at ease. Liam had a way of making her feel special, as if she belonged there just as much as anyone else. She started to relax and enjoy herself. At one point, as they were standing by the bar, Liam turned to her and said, You know, I invited you here because I wanted you to see the real me. I don't just want you to know the Liam Parker everyone else sees. I want you to know the guy who's been working tirelessly to build something he believes in, something that's not just about money. Emma looked at him, surprised by his openness. I'm glad you invited me, she said softly. I don't know why, but I feel like you're different from everyone here. You're not trying to impress anyone. Liam smiled. That's because I'm not. I've spent too much of my life pretending, and I don't want to pretend anymore. I want something real. I want someone who sees me for who I am, not for what I've built. Emma's heart skipped a beat. There it was again, the connection she had felt with him from the very beginning. Maybe it wasn't the world they lived in that mattered, but the way they made each other feel. She realized, as she looked into his eyes, that maybe she had found something real after all. The night continued, and as the gala came to an end, Emma couldn't help but feel like she was standing at the beginning of something new. The world of the wealthy and powerful didn't seem so distant anymore, and neither did Liam. She wasn't sure what the future held, but one thing was clear, she was ready to find out. It had been a few days since the gala, but Emma still couldn't stop thinking about it. The whole night felt like a dream. The way Liam had looked at her, the way he made her feel like she truly belonged in that world, it all seemed surreal. She had never imagined she would be walking through a high-class gala with a man like him, let alone feel so at ease. But there was something more. The connection between them, the way their conversations flowed, felt real, something deeper than just a chance encounter. As the days went by, Emma found herself eagerly checking her phone, waiting for another message from Liam. It was crazy, really. She had never been this interested in someone before, especially someone from such a different world. Yet, every time she thought about him, her heart raced. She couldn't deny that she was drawn to him, not just because of who he was, but because of how he made her feel. Then, one afternoon, as she was walking out of the diner where she worked, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Liam. Her pulse quickened as she read the text. Hey Emma, I was wondering if you'd like to join me for dinner tonight. It's been a while since we've had the chance to talk, just the two of us. I really enjoyed our last time together. Her heart skipped a beat. This was it. She had been waiting for this, but now that it was here, she wasn't sure what to think. Dinner with Liam? Another chance to see him, to spend time with him. This time, just the two of them. She quickly typed back, I'd love to. What time? Liam responded almost immediately. How about 7? I'll pick you up. She smiled at her phone, feeling a rush of excitement. This was real. She was really going to have dinner with him again. That evening, Emma found herself standing in front of her mirror, trying to decide what to wear. She knew this dinner would be different. It wasn't a charity gala or a public event. This time, it would just be them. No pretenses, no crowds. She chose a simple but elegant dress she had tucked away in her closet, one she felt confident in. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She just wanted to feel good for herself. When the doorbell rang, Emma's stomach fluttered. She took a deep breath, smoothing down the dress before opening the door. There stood Liam, looking every bit the part of the successful CEO he was, dressed in a well-tailored suit. His eyes softened as they met hers, and he smiled warmly. You look stunning, he said, his voice sincere. Thank you, Emma replied, feeling her cheeks flush. You look great too. She stepped outside and he led her to his car, a sleek black vehicle that seemed to embody his wealth and status. But as they drove through the city streets, it was clear that what mattered most to Liam wasn't his car or his empire. It was the time he was spending with her. They arrived at a quiet, upscale restaurant by the water. The dim lighting and intimate setting created a cozy atmosphere, and as they were led to their table, Emma felt a sense of calm settle over her. This wasn't a business dinner. This wasn't about impressing anyone. It was just dinner, two people getting to know each other. They sat down, and the conversation flowed easily. They talked about their lives, their dreams, and their pasts. Emma shared more about her aspirations for her art studio, and Liam opened up about his company and the challenges he faced in balancing his career with his personal life. It was the kind of conversation she had been craving, honest, raw, and real. At one point, Emma paused and looked at him thoughtfully. "Liam," she said quietly, "I've been thinking a lot about everything. This whole us, I mean. I don't know what it is about you, but I feel like I can talk to you in a way I've never been able to with anyone else." Liam smiled, his eyes meeting hers. "I feel the same way, Emma. You make it easy. I've spent so much time building my career, and sometimes I forget what it feels like to just be myself. You remind me of that." For a moment, they sat in silence, the weight of their words hanging between them. Emma felt a shift in the air, a realization that they were no longer two strangers, but two people who had connected on a deeper level. She had come to the dinner unsure of where things might go, but now, she knew. The waiter brought their main course, but neither of them seemed in any rush to eat. Instead, they continued to talk, laughing and sharing more of their thoughts and dreams. The more time Emma spent with Liam, the more she found herself falling for him. Not for his wealth, but for the person he was underneath it all. As the night came to a close, Liam drove her back to her apartment. When they reached the doorstep, Emma turned to him, a mixture of emotions swirling inside her. "Thank you for tonight," she said softly. "It was nice, just being with you." Liam smiled, his gaze lingering on her. "I feel the same way, Emma. And I think this is just the beginning of something real." Emma's heart fluttered at his words. She didn't know what the future held, but she was beginning to believe that whatever it was, it would be worth it. She smiled back at him, her feelings for him growing with every passing moment. As Liam drove away, Emma stood at the door, watching his car disappear into the night. She had come so far from that first blind date, where she had been unsure of herself and where things would lead. But now, with every encounter, she felt herself growing more certain. She was ready to take the next step, wherever it might take her. The following week, things between Liam and Emma continued to blossom. They met several times after the dinner, each time growing closer. Every conversation felt more personal, more meaningful, and Emma found herself sharing more about her past, her struggles, and her dreams. She had never felt so understood, so heard. Liam, too, was opening up in ways he hadn't in years. The walls he had built around himself for protection began to crumble, piece by piece. For the first time in a long while, he felt like he was not just a CEO, not just a wealthy businessman. He was a man with real emotions, real connections, and someone who deserved to be loved. But despite the growing closeness, there was something Emma couldn't shake, a nagging feeling that Liam was still holding something back. It wasn't his feelings for her. She could feel that those were genuine. No, it was something else, something she couldn't quite put her finger on. She had noticed it in the way he would occasionally withdraw when they were talking about deeper subjects or when their conversations veered too close to his personal life. Emma wasn't sure if it was just his nature or if there was something more he wasn't ready to share. But one thing was certain. She wanted to know him fully, all of him. One evening, after a particularly meaningful conversation about their dreams and what they wanted out of life, Emma decided it was time to address it. She could no longer ignore the subtle distance she had sensed from Liam. She didn't want to push him, but she needed to know if they were truly building something real. She had come to care for him deeply, and the thought of not knowing the whole truth left her unsettled. "Liam," she began, her voice steady but soft, "I've been thinking a lot about us, and I want to ask you something." Liam looked at her, a flicker of curiosity in his eyes. "What's on your mind?" he asked, his voice warm, though there was a slight hesitation in his tone. Emma took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. "I feel like we've been getting closer, and I really value that. But there's still something I don't fully understand. You've been amazing, Liam, so kind, so open. But I can't help but feel like you're holding something back. Is there something you haven't told me? Something you're not ready to share?" There was a long pause. Liam's gaze softened, but there was an undeniable shift in the air. He looked away for a moment, as if trying to gather his thoughts. Emma's heart raced in her chest, waiting for his response. Had she overstepped? She wasn't sure, but she had to ask. Liam finally spoke, his voice quieter now. You're right. There is something I haven't told you, something I've been keeping from everyone. I guess I've been trying to figure out when the right time would be to tell you. He paused, his eyes meeting hers. Emma, I'm not just Liam Parker, the CEO. I'm also the founder of a company that's been under the radar for a while, and I've purposely kept my involvement a secret. The business isn't just about tech, it's about power, influence, and, well, things I've tried to distance myself from. I've built my life on this persona, and I've kept it separate from the real me. Emma listened carefully, absorbing his words. It was clear that Liam was conflicted. His shoulders slumped slightly as he continued. The truth is, I've been hiding behind this mask for so long that I'm not sure who I am without it. But with you, I felt something different. You make me want to take off that mask, to be vulnerable. But I've been scared that you'll see me differently, scared that I won't be enough for you. Emma's heart ached for him. She could see the pain in his eyes, the struggle within him. She reached out and placed her hand gently on his. Liam, you don't have to be afraid of being yourself with me. I care about you for who you are, not for the company you built, not for the wealth you have. I care about the person you've shown me, the man who's been real, kind, and thoughtful. I'm not going anywhere. For the first time in a long while, Liam smiled, a genuine, relieved smile. It was as if a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. Thank you, he whispered, his voice full of gratitude. I don't know what I would do without you. They sat in silence for a moment, the connection between them stronger than ever. Emma's heart swelled with emotion, and for the first time, she truly felt like she understood Liam. He had been hiding a part of himself, but now, he had chosen to let her in. And that meant everything to her. As they talked late into the night, the distance between them disappeared completely. They had faced the truth together, and it only made their bond stronger. Liam had opened up, and Emma had shown him that she was there for him, no matter what. She no longer had doubts about their relationship. This was real, and whatever the future held, she was ready to face it with Liam by her side. The days that followed felt like a new beginning for both Emma and Liam. With the truth out in the open, they no longer had to navigate their feelings in the dark. For the first time in a long while, Liam felt like he could breathe. He had shared a part of himself that he had kept hidden for years, and Emma had accepted him without hesitation. Her support meant everything to him. It wasn't just about the business or the wealth. It was about the person he had become and the connection they were building. As the weeks passed, Emma and Liam grew even closer. They spent more time together, going to art galleries, walking through the park, and sharing quiet evenings at Liam's apartment. Emma had never felt so at peace. She was finally allowing herself to trust in something real, something that felt grounded and true. Liam was no longer just the CEO of a billion-dollar company. He was the man who made her laugh, the one who cared for her and made her feel seen. But even as their connection deepened, there was a lingering question in the back of Emma's mind. Was this truly going to last? Despite everything they had shared, she couldn't shake the feeling that their worlds were still different. She came from a small, humble background, and Liam's life was filled with luxury and power. She wasn't sure if she could ever truly fit into his world, no matter how much she cared for him. One evening, as they sat on the balcony of Liam's apartment, the city lights twinkling in the distance, Emma finally voiced her concerns. Liam, I've been thinking about something, she began, her voice gentle but serious. I know we've been getting closer, but sometimes I wonder if I'm really a part of your world. You've worked so hard for everything you have, and I don't want to be the one who drags you down. I just don't know if I fit in here. Liam looked at her, his expression softening. He reached out and took her hand in his. Emma, you don't have to fit into my world. I never expected you to. All I want is for you to be yourself. I've spent so much of my life building a life that others would envy, but none of that matters if I don't have someone to share it with. I want to share it with you. Emma's heart swelled at his words. She hadn't realized how much she needed to hear them. She had spent so much time questioning if she belonged in his world, but Liam was showing her that it didn't matter. They were creating something together, something that was about more than wealth, status, or social expectations. It was about them, their connection, and the love they were building. As they sat there, hand in hand, the world around them seemed to fade away. For the first time, Emma felt like she could fully embrace this relationship, knowing that Liam truly wanted her, not for her background or her past, but for who she was. And as she looked into his eyes, she realized she had never felt more certain of anything in her life. Over the next few days, they continued to grow closer. They made plans for the future, talked about their dreams, and shared their hopes. Liam even surprised Emma by taking her to the place he had always dreamed of, an old, rundown building in the heart of the city that he had plans to turn into a community center. He had worked on the project for years, but he had kept it hidden from everyone, even Emma, until now. When they arrived at the building, Emma was taken aback by the vision Liam had for it. It was a place that would bring people together, offer support to those who needed it most. It wasn't just about business or profit. It was about creating something that could change lives. Liam shared his vision with her, and as he spoke, Emma could see the passion in his eyes. This was the real Liam Parker, the man who cared about making a difference in the world. As they stood there, surrounded by the dust and debris of the building, Emma realized that she had been wrong to doubt their future. Their relationship wasn't about fitting into each other's worlds. It was about building a new world together, one where they could both thrive and grow. She knew now that no matter what came their way, they would face it together, side by side. Liam turned to her, a smile playing on his lips. "What do you think? Can we make this happen?" Emma smiled back, her heart full. "I think we can," she said. Together. In that moment, as they stood there, hands intertwined, Emma knew that this was just the beginning. They were creating something real, something lasting, and no matter where life took them, they would always have each other. As the weeks went by, Liam and Emma's relationship continued to grow stronger. They had both come a long way from that first awkward blind date, and now, their connection felt deeper than either of them could have imagined. They spent more time together, building not only their bond, but also the foundation for a future they both dreamed of. Liam's plans for the community center were moving forward, and Emma was becoming an integral part of the process. She was excited by the vision Liam had shared with her, and now, she was helping him bring that vision to life. One afternoon, as they sat together at a local coffee shop discussing the community center, Emma felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. She looked at Liam, his eyes focused on the plans spread out in front of them, and she couldn't help but feel amazed at how far they had come. The man she had once thought of as just a powerful soul was now the man she admired deeply, not just for his success, but for his heart, his kindness, and the way he cared for the world around him. "I can't believe how much we've done," Emma said, her voice filled with excitement. "This place, it's going to be incredible. I can already picture it. The community events, the people it will help, the lives it will change." Liam smiled, his eyes warm as he looked at her. "I couldn't have done this without you, Emma. Your passion, your vision, it's been incredible. I never thought I'd find someone who truly understands what I'm trying to do here." Emma's heart swelled with emotion at his words. She had never imagined that she would be standing alongside someone like Liam, working towards something so meaningful. They had been on such different paths at first, yet now, it felt like they were heading in the same direction, together. But as much as Emma felt grateful and hopeful, there was still a part of her that carried uncertainty. She knew that the world they were building together was beautiful, but she couldn't ignore the differences between their lives. They had come from two very different worlds. Could they truly make it work, even as their relationship grew more serious? The thought lingered in the back of her mind, even as she tried to push it away. That evening, as Liam drove her home, Emma decided it was time to talk. She had been holding back her concerns for weeks, but now, with everything moving so fast, she needed to know where they stood. "Liam," she began, her voice softer than usual. "There's something I've been thinking about. I want to be honest with you, and I hope you'll understand." She took a deep breath before continuing. "I love everything we're building together. But sometimes, I can't help but feel like we're living in two different worlds. I come from a place where everything was simpler, and I just wonder if I can keep up with your world. Do you ever feel like that? That we're not really aligned in the same way?" For a moment, Liam didn't respond. The car hummed softly as it glided through the quiet streets, the only sound between them the rhythmic turning of the wheels. Emma held her breath, unsure of how he would react. Had she said too much? Then, Liam spoke, his voice calm and reassuring. "I understand how you feel, Emma, but I want you to know something. You're not just a part of my world. You're my world. You've shown me that there's more to life than just success and money. What we have is real, and that's all that matters to me. I want you to be with me, Not because you fit in perfectly or because you belong to my world, but because we've created something together, something that's ours. Emma felt her chest tighten at his words. It was exactly what she needed to hear, but even as the relief washed over her, she still had questions about the future. Could they really make it work, no matter how different their worlds were? The answer was still unclear, but for the first time, she felt a sense of certainty. The car slowed as they pulled up to her apartment. Liam stopped and turned to her, his expression serious but gentle. I don't have all the answers, Emma, but I do know this. I want to face the future with you. Whatever challenges come our way, I want to take them on together. Emma smiled, her heart full. She didn't know what the future held, but in that moment, she felt more certain than ever that they could make it through anything, as long as they were together. As she stepped out of the car and waved goodbye, Emma realized that the questions about their different worlds no longer seemed as important. What mattered was the journey they were on together. And as long as they had each other, they would face whatever came next, side by side. As the weeks went by, Emma and Liam found themselves settling into a new rhythm. The community center project was progressing beautifully, with more people getting involved and the momentum growing. Emma was thrilled to be part of something so meaningful, and Liam was more committed than ever. Together, they were building not just a space for the community, but a future that felt solid and full of potential. Despite the challenges they faced, they had become a team, and Emma couldn't help but feel proud of how far they had come. But even as things were moving forward, Emma still carried a small doubt in her heart. It wasn't about the relationship. They had come so far, and she was certain of what they shared. No, the doubt was about something else. It was about her own place in this new world Liam was leading. She had embraced the life they were creating together, but sometimes, when she stood in the midst of the high-powered meetings or the polished world Liam inhabited, she still felt like an outsider. She loved him, and she knew he loved her, but could she truly keep up with everything that came with his life? Was she the right fit for him in the long run? One evening, after a long day of work at the community center, Emma found herself alone in her apartment, deep in thought. Her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. It was a text from Liam. I've been thinking a lot about us, and I want to take you somewhere special tomorrow. Let me know if you're free. The excitement that bubbled up in her chest was impossible to ignore. She had no idea where Liam was planning to take her, but she knew whatever it was, it would be another step in their journey together. The next day, Emma met Liam in the lobby of her apartment building, wearing a simple but elegant dress. She was curious but trying not to let her nerves show. Liam was standing there, looking dashing as usual, and he smiled when he saw her. You look amazing, he said, offering her his arm. Thank you, Emma replied, feeling a warmth spread through her chest as she slipped her arm through his. Where are we going? Liam smiled mysteriously. It's a surprise, he said, his voice playful. I think you'll love it. They walked through the city streets, eventually arriving at a private park overlooking the water. Emma was taken aback by the beauty of the place. It wasn't a public park. It was serene, quiet, and felt like a hidden gem in the middle of the bustling city. The trees were in full bloom, the air smelled fresh, and the sound of the water lapping against the shore was soothing. This is beautiful, Emma said, looking around in awe. I've never seen a place like this before. Liam looked at her with a soft smile. I wanted to share something special with you, something that's just ours. A place where we can both reflect on everything we've been through and everything that's ahead. Emma's heart swelled at his words. She had never imagined that Liam would bring her here, to such a peaceful and intimate spot. As they sat on a bench by the water, Liam turned to her, his gaze serious yet tender. I've been thinking a lot about what you said before, he began, his voice gentle. About us living in two different worlds. I've always been so focused on my work, on my empire, that I never really considered how all of this might look to you. I want you to know that I don't expect you to fit into my world. What I want is for us to build our own world together. A world where we both belong. You don't have to be anyone other than who you are to be with me. Emma felt a rush of emotion hearing his words. She had been holding on to her fears for so long, worried that she wasn't enough for him. But now, Liam was assuring her that she was exactly what he needed. Her eyes filled with tears, and she smiled through them. I don't know what the future holds, Emma said softly, but I'm not afraid anymore. Not when I'm with you. We've already come so far, and I know that whatever happens, we'll face it together. Liam's smile grew wider, and he leaned in, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "We will," he agreed, his voice full of certainty. "Together, Emma. Always." As they sat there, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Emma realized that the doubts that had once lingered in her heart were now fading away. Liam had shown her that no matter how different their worlds were, they had something real. They had each other. And in that moment, Emma knew that this was just the beginning of the rest of their lives, a journey they would walk together, no matter what the future held. As the months passed, Emma and Liam continued to grow together, their bond becoming even stronger with each passing day. They worked side by side, not only on the community center project, but also on building a life that felt more real and more fulfilling than either of them had imagined. Liam's company was thriving, but it was the shared moments with Emma, the quiet evenings and the simple acts of love, that brought him the most joy. Emma, who had once doubted if she truly belonged in his world, had found a place in his heart, and she knew she belonged right by his side. One evening, as they sat together in the park by the water, where Liam had taken her months ago, he turned to Emma with a soft smile. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the water, and the air was cool with the promise of fall. It felt like the perfect moment, the kind that Emma had only ever dreamed of. But this time, she wasn't dreaming. She was living it. "Emma," Liam began, his voice calm and steady. "I've spent a lot of time thinking about us, about everything we've been through. When we first met, I had no idea where this would lead. But now, I can't imagine my life without you. You've made me realize that there's more to life than success and power. There's love. There's connection. There's us." Emma's heart fluttered in her chest as she listened, her hand resting in his. She had always known that Liam was different from the men she had known before. He wasn't just a man of wealth and ambition. He was a man who valued what truly mattered, who saw her for who she was, not for her background or her past. Liam continued, his gaze never leaving hers. "I love you, Emma. I've known it for a while now. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, building something meaningful, something real. Will you marry me?" For a moment, Emma could hardly believe her ears. The question hung in the air, and the world around them seemed to stand still. Liam Parker, the man who had once seemed so far out of reach, was asking her to be his partner for life. She had dreamed of this moment, but now that it was here, the reality was even more beautiful than she could have imagined. She looked at him, her eyes filled with love and tears. "Yes," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "Yes, I'll marry you." As Liam slipped the ring onto her finger, the world seemed to fade away, leaving only the two of them, standing at the beginning of a new chapter in their lives. Emma felt an overwhelming sense of peace, knowing that no matter what challenges came their way, they would face them together, side by side. The days that followed were filled with joy as they planned their future together. The community center was thriving, and Emma had become a key part of the project, helping to bring their vision to life. But beyond the work they were doing, it was their love for each other that anchored them. They had built something beautiful, not just for the community, but for themselves. On the day of their wedding, as Emma walked down the aisle, she couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for everything that had brought them to this moment. She had found love, not in the way she had expected, but in a way that was more real, more true than anything she had ever imagined. As Liam waited for her at the altar, his heart was full. He had found the love he had been searching for, not in the world of power and wealth, but in the woman who had shown him the true meaning of happiness. And as they exchanged vows, promising to love and cherish each other forever, they both knew that this was only the beginning of their journey together. Their story was one of love, of growth, of overcoming obstacles and learning to trust each other. And as they walked out of the ceremony hand in hand, Emma and Liam knew that they had built something that would last a lifetime, a love that was real, a future that was theirs.